First of all, I really do appreciate everybody being here. And I do hope we have more attend. But if we don't, we got the best of the best here, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Anyway, so, sprouts and microgreens have gotten a lot of attention, especially since COVID. And just recently, I started doing a lot more research on sprouts and microgreens. And so I thought, well, this would really make a good class. So that is why we are here today. We are going to have a good class. We need to have audience participation. So certainly we do want you asking questions and getting engaged with the class. Now, we have Linda and Kathy, who are always very good at telling us what's in the chat box. So if you would feel better putting your question in the chat box, please do so. But if not, you are, feel free to, ask the question out loud. Okay, so seed to superfood. Who knows what a superfood is? Anybody? Okay, this is audience participation.
It's the one that's the best for you, like to give you the
That's a lot of nutrition.
bang for your bucks.
Okay, so you're going to get the most bang for your buck. That's right. Anybody else?
Something that's super healthy.
Super healthy, yes. So it's going to have a lot of nutrients, right?
Yep.
Yes, it's nutrient dense.
Correct. It's going to be nutrient dense. And what about the calorie content?
Probably not hardly any.
Not near as bad as it could be.
Okay, so
Pound for pound.
Yeah, pound for pound. So it's going to be nutrient dense, and it's also not going to have an abundance of calories. So if we're saying these are superfoods, can you name some other superfoods?
Blueberry.
Blueberries, okay.
Chia seeds,
Chia seeds,
flax
broccoli, and I think
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potatoes,
Flax
greens
seeds.
and beans.
greens
Sweet
and beans.
potato.
Yeah, sweet potatoes.
Yes. Okay. So all of those are in the classification of superfood. So do we all agree, right?
Yes.
And Debbie BC says goji berries.
Goji berries. They are very, very good. Yes.
And your greens, your kale and arugula and spinach.
Yes, all of those. So, and we probably could take each one of those and pinpoint what makes them really a great superfood, right? Thinking about sweet potatoes, they're full of beta carotene, and beta carotene we know is an antioxidant. What was that?
Carrots too. I just thought about carrots.
Right. Okay, but the sweet potatoes have the beta carotene in them. They also are high in fiber.
Right.
And so, we can look at each one of those and see why they would be classified as a superfood. So really great. Okay, so this presentation it aims to educate and to inform you. It is not intended to be medical advice. And, if you want to seek medical advice, you should talk to your healthcare professional. Okay, everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of people are going to ask, what are sprouts? What are microgreens? Why or how are they different? Are there nutritional benefits for these? Do they cost an arm and a leg? How do we use them? And then how can we grow them if we want to save money? And we're going to talk about all of those things tonight. So the question I want to ask you, we have a little trivia here, and maybe you can Just jot down your answer, or it could be a group. But so for sprouts, these are true or false. Can sprouts be grown in a jar without water?
No.
No.
Okay. Most sprouts are grown in 2 days. Is that true or false?
False.
False.
Free.
Only the stems and the tiny leaves are eaten on the sprouts.
False.
Roots and everything.
Okay, so let's talk about microgreens. Microgreens are grown in soil or on a growing mat.
True.
True.
Okay, everybody agree?
Mhm.
Okay, seed sprouts develop stems and leaves in just 7 days.
True.
Mm.
True.
True.
Oh, I don't think y'all are as strong on that one.
I think
Now, the
it's
next
false. I
one.
think it takes
I
longer
want to
than
say it's false too.
Okay, so the roots, stem, and leaves are eaten in the microgreens. True or false?
False.
That's
False.
false.
True.
False.
no roots.
No roots.
No roots.
Okay, so let's move on and we'll find out here. So both sprouts and microgreens are young plants packed with nutrients, but they differ in the growth method, the nutrition, the texture, and the use. So we're going to talk about those. But the sprouts are grown not in soil, but just in water. And they can be grown in a sprouting jar or in a sprouting tray, okay? They germinate within 2 to 7 days. So that's key there. And the entire plant is eaten. Roots, stem, and tiny leaves. Excuse me. And then on the microgreens, they are grown in soil or on a mat. So y'all were correct on that. But the seeds sprout and develop stems and leaves within 7 to 21 days. So it's not a given on 7. And I've been growing some microgreens, and the first 2 weeks, there was nothing. I mean, there was just a little bit. Okay, and then the only stems and leaves are eaten on the microgreens. So y'all were correct on that. So here is just a quick comparison. I don't want to go into this in too much details, but you can see the sprouts, the microgreens, and the baby greens. And you know, the baby greens aren't that old, 20 to 40 days, but you can see in comparison what the height is going to be from 5 to 8 centimeters with sprouts and 3 to 10 with microgreens, the production time, and then the cultivation. So once again, the sprouts require no soil, it's just water and moisture. I have my little squirt bottle, and I have been squirting my microgreens and my sprouts just to make sure they have adequate moisture. And, you know, living here in Florida, we have a lot of humidity, so that also helps as well. Light requirements for our sprouts, we really don't need direct light, but with the microgreens we do. And of course, when we are growing baby greens, we need a lot. And then the root appearance. We know that sprouts, now I have seen some with a little root hair, and especially when we look at our broccoli. But when we go to the microgreens, they do have that root hair. So here is another, just the moisture, the land space. So you'll be getting a copy of all of this so that you'll be able to see this in more detail, okay?
Good.
So let's talk about our nutrients. I'm going to tell you that sprouts and microgreens have similar nutrients. And we're going to go through all of those with the sprouts. And then it's kind of almost a repeat with the microgreens. But the microgreens are going to be almost like on steroids when you compare them to the sprouts, okay? So they are really superfoods. So your microgreen or your sprouts are rich in nutrients. Now, from previous classes, I want y'all to tell me what are the powerful antioxidants that we know.
Blueberries.
No.
Oh.
I'm sorry. The vitamins and nutrients.
Vitamin C.
Oh,
Vitamin C, exactly.
D.
That's not an antioxidant.
Oh,
C and E.
I'm not understanding y'all.
C and E.
E is an antioxidant.
Yes.
is
E
K
is for
an
energy.
antioxidant?
No, K's not. I mean, all of these are important, but they're not antioxidants. And when you think about antioxidants, think about the ones that are targeting those cancer cells and destroying them. So think about our cancer classes in the back.
Curcumin, green
Oh,
tea.
it's the stuff that's in broccoli, but
Sulforaphane.
sulforaphanes.
Okay, but that is not a vitamin or a mineral.
What about C?
Vitamin C, vitamin E, and can y'all think about vitamin A
Oh,
or beta carotene?
okay.
That's a B vitamin, isn't it?
No, beta carotene is a derivative of vitamin A.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so those are very strong antioxidants. Very strong antioxidants.
Vitamin K part of that? Is vitamin K part of that?
Not of the antioxidants.
Okay,
Not as strong as A, C, and E.
got it.
Okay, those are the three champions. And under beta, well, remember, beta carotene is a derivative of vitamin A. And under beta carotene also is the cousin lycopene. So that is also an antioxidant. So that's in that family. Okay. So those are really looking at damage and trying to avoid damage in our body. Okay. Just like cellular damage or DNA damage, those are very important. They're also very important in immune function. So under nutrients, we have our vitamin C, which is important for immune system, skin health, and antioxidant protection. Vitamin E, a potent antioxidant that protects cells from damage. Vitamin K is for bone health, and we've talked about bone health and also bone mineralization. It also is important for blood clotting. So saying that, if you are somebody who is on a blood thinner, you probably need to watch your vitamin K consumption. And then we have our B vitamins, which come from folate, and this is necessary for cell division, and it's also important for DNA synthesis. And then we have our microgreens, our minerals, and our sprouts and our microgreens are a great source of minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium, which support not only heart health, but also muscle function and bone strength. So when we're looking at sprouts and microgreens, for all of those who really want to improve our bone health, these are going to help you along in that journey. Okay. The next one is aids in digestion. We know that sprouts contain a lot of enzymes, and those enzymes are going to help to break down our food, and it helps us with digestion. And they also help us absorb nutrients, particularly in our gut. So immune health, I already said that vitamin C and vitamin E, help to strengthen our immune system. And they're also antioxidants that help to reduce oxidative stress, which can weaken our immune system. Improve heart health. So our sprouts and our microgreens both are a good source of fiber. And we know that fiber is going to help us reduce our cholesterol and also improve our health, our heart health. Reducing that cholesterol is very important, no matter where we are on the spectrum. They are also a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. And do y'all remember off the top of your head what type of omega-3 fatty acids we get from plants?
The good kind.
The good kind, yes. How about the ALA? Yes, that fatty acids. And that's going to also help us reduce our cardiovascular disease propensity. Okay, so if
we had one question that maybe you might be a good time to do it.
okay,
Which foods are the best for fighting cancer?
well, we're going to get to that.
Okay,
Can we hold that question?
yes.
Because we'll probably be there in 3 or 4 slides. Okay, but that's a good question. Okay, so if we're getting all of this fiber with low calorie foods, what may it help us do?
Lose weight.
Lose weight. It aids in weight management. Exactly. It also is going to help us feel full, which is going to be very powerful. The next thing is promote healthy skin. Now, I'm going to say myself, I don't know about you, but I'm getting at that age where things begin to hang, that used to not hang, like cheeks and eyes and so forth. So, people think about collagen and, where do you get your collagen? Well, when you are looking at sprouts and microgreens, they are high in vitamin C and vitamin E. We already talked about that, but both of those help skin health by combating free radicals that contribute to aging and skin damage. Now, why didn't I know this 50 years ago? Okay, that is my question. But all of that helps with collagen production. It also helps with a healthy blood sugar. There are many studies that show that consuming sprouts may help regulate blood sugar levels. Okay, somebody has feedback and we need to mute them, please. Okay, their fiber content along with compounds like magnesium may contribute to insulin sensitivity. Our sprouts, and especially our microgreens, have a high chlorophyll content, and that is going to help detoxify the body, especially the liver. It helps support liver functions. And the chlorophyll also helps to eliminate toxins in the blood. We talked about the bone health already, that because of the vitamin K and the calcium, both are essential in maintaining strong bones. The vitamin K also helps in the calcium absorption and the bone mineralization. And then last but not least, here is improved gut health. With the fiber, the sprouts are acting as prebiotics, feeding our healthy gut bacteria. And this can lead to better digestion, reduce inflammation, and overall improve gut health. And if it's improved gut health, we know that elimination is going to be major, right?
Yeah.
Any questions on that? Besides the cancer question, because we're getting to that. Okay, so once again, the microgreens are very similar. We've got one additional one here with eye health. And with eye health, we know that, let me find my note here on eye health. well, I'm not finding my note, but we know with eye health, because of the beta carotene that is very high in microgreens, that is also going to help with our eyes and seeing. So when we look at, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry, this was in the wrong place. So let me go to the next one because this follows along. So when you look at the comparison, you can see that the sprouts have, yes, they have vitamin C, K, E, and A, excuse me, but it's not as high as the microgreens. The antioxidants in the sprouts are moderate, but they're much higher in the microgreens. What difference, the chlorophyll in the sprouts is going to be lower than the microgreens. But the enzymes, because they're much younger, they're very high in the sprouts, but not as high in the microgreens. And then the fiber, once again, much higher in the microgreens. So you can see the difference here. And mainly because the sprouts are so young. And then I want to go back to the previous one. And so because the sprouts are so young, they're going to be soft, they're going to be a little crunchy, and they're going to be juicy with just a mild taste. Where the microgreens, because they have grown and they had more light, then they're going to be crisp, tender, and they're going to be mildly spicy, especially depending on the variety. And I'll be showing you one variety tonight that is quite spicy. Now, the coveted broccoli sprout. In 1997, the New York Times said that researchers found an anti-cancer substance in broccoli sprouts. Well, that just opened the floodgates. And if you look on PubMed and if you do research, if you're searching for research on broccoli sprouts, you're just going to see 1,000. I did one search and there was over 19,000 results for broccoli sprouts. So you pick which one you want to look at. They're all very positive. And what we know about broccoli sprouts is that a 4-ounce serving. Now, a 4-ounce serving is quite a lot, folks. Remember, these sprouts are very, very small. So a 4-ounce serving is only 35 calories. You can see the protein in there. You can see the fat. But look at this. It also has 4 grams of fiber. So once again, when we're looking at fiber, our sprouts and our microgreens are going to be a nice source. But you can also see that just these 35 calories is providing 60% of our vitamin C, 10% of our vitamin A, and 4% of our iron. So when we're looking at, let me get rid of this line here. When we're looking at, can y'all see that line or no?
Where it says contain 10 to 100 times?
No,
No.
it disappeared. It must be just on mine. So based on studies and also the way they're grown, the sulforaphane, and the sulforaphane is the key ingredient for cancer killing. Sulforaphane targets the cancer cells and destroys them. Now, we have a lot of cancer cells floating around our body on a daily basis, and the food that we eat is going to target them and destroy them. And if we're not eating the right foods, those cancer cells don't get destroyed. Okay, so that's when we start, and they're free radicals. So, and those free radicals do damage to our inside. They do damage to our skin. They make us look old and haggard. And that's why I wanted to learn this 50 years ago. Anyway, so sulforaphane found in broccoli sprouts is 10 to 100 times more potent than what is found in our mature broccoli. Okay, now optimal sulforaphane and broccoli sprouts. This came from Dr. Michael Greger's site, which is nutritionfacts.org, and he shows the sulforaphane content of a broccoli sprout over time. So you can see the germination time is down on the bottom, and you can see the sulforaphane content going up the side. So at 48 hours, the broccoli sprout has optimal sulforaphane. If you've listened to this presentation on Nutrition Facts, Dr. Greger says that he has broccoli sprouts growing every single day so he can get the optimal amount. So I emphasize that what you would want to make sure of is that you don't overgrow your broccoli sprouts in one day or for one day, and then you can't eat them all in, the appropriate day, at 48 hours. Okay. So that's going to be key when we start talking about how do we grow these.
Deb, is that 48 hours? Is that from the day that you start them?
That is from when they start sprouting.
Okay.
So, and usually they start sprouting the first day, or you soak them the first day, and then the next day I would say would be the first day, and then they would start sprouting the next day. And so I would say within the second or third day would be the 48 hours.
Great.
And I'm going to show you some that are sprouting, and I will show you that they are day 2. Okay. So next, so the question always remains, and I always get this question, well, I don't like broccoli and I don't like broccoli sprouts. So can I take a supplement? Now, y'all know what I feel about supplements, but here we go. It costs about 25 cents a day to get the right amount of broccoli sprouts that you need to stay healthy. So up here with the, so sulforaphane and, oh my goodness gracious, I forget this other, so this other, this ERN, I totally forgot what the word is because I haven't seen it in 2 weeks. But anyway, these are both sulforaphane containing ingredients in broccoli sprouts, okay? So you can see that once again, time is on the bottom, and then the total amount of blood sulforaphane. So this is after eating, they're doing blood work to see what the sulforaphane content is. So here we go. And this is probably, so right here, this peak is probably just a few hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours after eating the broccoli sprouts. So I would say try to eat them periodically throughout the day, right? And then this other, the ERN, it's not as high as the sulforaphane on the left side, but it still goes up to almost 1. But the supplement, Brocco Max costs $2 per day. And you can see how much sulforaphane, excuse me, it barely got up to maybe 0.33 of the amount in here. So I would say, I'm not doing the math. So anyway, but you can see that it barely budged on either of these ingredients, right?
Yeah.
So how easy is it to make these sprouts? We're going to be showing you soon. Okay. But certainly we can see that the Brocco Max would be a total waste of our money if that's what we're trying to do, is to combat that cancer. Okay, so trivia question. How much does 1 pound of broccoli seeds yield?
Oh, I'm saying that's 75 cups.
75 cups. Now, did I make that look like 75 cups?
That's amazing.
Yes. Looks like a bale of hay.
No, those are actually sprouts. Those are sprouts. You're going to see them, or maybe you already saw them, but anyway, those are sprouts. But I tried to pile 75 up in these 2 wheelbarrows and I couldn't, but those are sprouts. I was trying to be cute there.
Cool.
Okay, so these are the most popular sprouts. And I was going to say, so mung beans are the most popular, can you believe it? And I actually started growing some. They're high in protein, fiber, and antioxidants. They promote healthy skin. They boost immunity. They are full of vitamin C and folate. Alfalfa sprouts are one of the most nutrient dense. Broccoli sprouts, we know, really target the cancer cells and actually the free radicals, but they're full of A, C, K, and B. And they are also known for detoxifying properties. Lentil sprouts, I'm going to show you some of those. Chia seed sprouts. I haven't tried those, but we know that they're a healthy source of omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, and protein. Radishes are right under our broccoli sprouts, and they are rich in antioxidants, provide high level of vitamin C, and they are very, very spicy. So if you like spicy, that's good. That's the kind you want to try. But they also support liver health and detoxification. Then our sunflower seeds are going to be a good source of vitamin E. Pea sprouts are about the same, just not as popular as the mung beans. Buckwheat sprouts are really good. They are a gluten-free source of protein, okay? So if you're somebody who is trying to be gluten-free, although your bean sprouts and your broccoli sprouts are all going to be, they're all going to be gluten-free. But when you see buckwheat sprouts, are you thinking the wheat? No, it's not the wheat. It's buckwheat and it's gluten-free. And then the fenugreek.
But not wheatgrass. That's not gluten-free. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, that's probably true.
That is
sense.
true. That is true. Yes. Okay, and I'm going to be showing you some of that too. Okay, so fenugreek sprouts, rich in iron, magnesium, and fiber. Now, I had a dietetic intern a few years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, and she said that they take the fenugreek seeds, just put them in their hand, and they pop them in their mouth because they're not the best tasting. And the sprouts aren't that good, but they help with blood sugar, they improve digestion, anti-inflammatory, and they also help with hormone balance. So if you're someone who's trying to, regulate PMS or something like that, fenugreek sprouts may be very important.
Deb,
However, fenugreek sprouts are going to make your armpits smell like maple syrup.
That's interesting.
Yes. So, just word for the wise.
Deb, is the growing time the same for all 10 of those that you have listed there?
No,
No.
they're all different. And hopefully
Okay.
I'm going to be able to just show you some of those. And I have not done chia seeds, but I'll be showing you a lot of these. Okay.
Okay, and Debbie, you did say you were going to show us some lentil sprouts, right?
Yes, I have all of those. We're going to get through this PowerPoint quite quickly.
Because Rebecca was asking. Okay, thanks.
Yes. Okay, so here is what you can do with your sprouts. Here is a chickpea omelet with mushrooms and sprouts. I did this presentation a couple of weeks ago. I had chickpea omelets with mushrooms and sprouts for 8 days straight. I've had this mung bean sprout for at least the last 2 weeks. I've had plain sprout salads. I've had sprouts 4 times a day. And Mile
Are you
High
sprouting sprouts out of your ears?
Yes, yes. And I will tell you, the fiber is very beneficial. Okay, in summary, I'm gonna let y'all look that over because I have to get some sprouts out of the refrigerator demo. Okay, so let me just start with the sprouts that I have completed already or have done. And this is a mixture of salad sprouts. There's 5 different salad greens in here, including radish. And I will tell you that every time I have grabbed this and had a bite, I have grabbed radishes. But you can see this, it's a little bit tinged in pink. That's your radish, and it's quite spicy. But this has some great greens, and you can see that this has a tiny, tiny leaf there. And that's basically when you want to get the sprouts. And you can see also, can you see this little, whoops, at the very bottom, you can see the root. Casey, can you get in there? Okay, so you can see the root in there.
Oh yeah, it looks like a little hair.
Yeah, a little hair, exactly. Okay, so those are the salad greens.
So Deb, did you sprout those all in the same jar, or did you do them separately and then mix them?
Oh no, this came as a mixture. And
Okay.
I was trying to find the bag. I'll show you the bags later if we have time. So no, all of these are mixed together. Okay.
Okay.
And they come that way. And so you can see that I have them in a glass container, and that's going to help preserve them. And then I also put them on a paper towel just to help absorb the mixture.
And those are finished sprouting, is that
Those are
correct?
finished, yes. And I had them on my oatmeal this morning, and it was very good. Okay, these are our broccoli sprouts, and these are our 48-hour broccoli sprouts, okay? So these don't have leaves. Well, there may be a couple of them, but you can see how small they are. And you can see that the seed is still there, but that is your 2-day-old broccoli sprout.
Okay, Debbie, let me ask you something real quick. So those were 48 hours old. You clipped them off. You put them in your glass container with the paper towel in there. Now, how long will those last?
Well, you know, what Dr. Greger indicated is that you would want to eat them the same day.
Okay. All right. So you're going to have these for supper later on?
Well, I'll probably have them tomorrow. But since I've already had supper, we'll wait until tomorrow. Okay. So now both of those, you are going to put it in a jar. And where's my jar? Okay, so I'm going to just show you this. I'm going to jump around, and I apologize, but these are my oat groats and buckwheat groats. Okay, and you only supposed to soak them for 30 minutes, and they've been soaking an hour. So let me drain them, and then I'll come right back to y'all. Okay, let me just drain them quickly.
Has anybody else on here been trying to grow anything?
I tried to grow the oat groats.
Yeah.
They were heat treated, so they didn't grow. So Debbie told me to go to the sprout people to order. So that
and get the ones that say sproutable.
Yeah.
I did. I had gotten oat groats too. And actually, they didn't do a thing. So I'm guessing that they were heat treated, probably like yours were. Because she said that she's bought stuff and it actually says that it's sproutable.
Right.
And yeah. Okay.
Okay. So my oats and groats, and when I say they're oat groats and they are buckwheat groats, but I'm calling them oats and groats. So usually I'll have a paper towel down here. Now I can keep them in this container and so what I would do tomorrow morning or every 12 hours, I'm going to wash them, not wash them, but I'm going to fill this up with water,
Rinse.
drain it,
Mhm.
and I'm going to turn it over on the side like that, because I don't want my seeds sitting in water.
Okay.
Okay.
Where
So
do
I
you
don't
get that stand? Will you be able to link to get that, that stand to put them on a slant?
Yes, yes. So this, and
Doesn't
Amazon.
this come from Amazon?
Yeah, I got
Amazon,
mine
I
from
saw it the other
Amazon.
day.
But I
Yeah.
will be putting all of that in there, okay?
Okay,
And in my follow-up. Okay,
okay.
so that is, now, that jar is really valuable. But I have found other things that I like even more. Now, also, I need to put sprouts in a dark area. So I have, in my research, I have found this container as well. And this is really nice if you're doing small amounts. You would put the seeds in here. So I could dump this in here. And then what I do, and I could have 4 different seeds all layered here. And I can put this lid on here, like that. And then every morning, put water in here, it would trickle down and then it would stay in this reservoir. If the reservoir gets too tall or too high with water, I just pour it out. But this also has a black bag. And I can stick all of these in the black bag because sprouts like to be done in the dark. Well, your microgreens like to start in the dark too. So you would put that in here, but once again, you're going to have to water it twice a day. So once it soaks, you drain it, and then every 12 hours, you're going to water it to make sure it has enough moisture to grow. Okay, so this is one form. Also, the way I like to do these, this is another form, and this is a metal mesh. It's all stainless steel. I have 2 of these stacked up, and what I will eventually do is pour all of these in here because it's just going to spread out and it's just going to be easier to handle. Okay. Also, I don't have one of them. Oh, I do over here. Okay. So this, I can stack this high too. Then I have the metal cover that's going to keep it dark. Once they start sprouting out and getting to the point where they need light, I will put them in light. Okay. So I like this method better for sprouts. Now, 2 other methods that this can be either sprouts or it can be sprouts or it can be microgreens. Okay. Now there's no dirt in here. These are lentil sprouts. So I want you to see the little sprouts, and these are green lentils. And basically my lentils are peeing on the counter. Okay, so those are lentil sprouts, and those you can eat them just like they are, or you can get a little bit further. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I grew them to about 3 inches, and they were quite tasty, but I don't believe they're supposed to be that tall. I don't think they're supposed to be microgreens. I think they're just supposed to be sprouts like this. And you can take one of these and just pop them in your mouth, and they're delicious.
Deb, are those just where do you special order those lentils that sprout?
You know what? I took a chance, Linda, and I did my own, the green lentils that I get, and they worked.
Good to know.
they're organic green lentils and they work. So, and they're very, very good. I like
Now,
them.
the other two that you showed, you're soaking them before you put them in there, right? Before you put them in the
Yes, so-
metal or the green one?
So all of them, Michelle, start by soaking. And I'm going to tell you,
Separately in a jar.
so Sprout People, and that's where I told Barb to try, but Sprout People has, for each sprout, they have a video, but they tell you specifically, and that's sproutpeople.org. They tell you specifically how to soak them. For example, the oat groats, you only soak them 30 minutes.
Great.
Okay.
Right, but my question is, are they soaking, all the other ones, are they soaking first in the jar before you transfer, or you're just doing the whole process in those containers that you have?
What I did on these, I soaked them in this container first because this is the reservoir, the bladder. So I soaked them in there and then soaked them for their 12 hours because most of them are 8 to 12 hours. And then I put
And
them
the
in
other
here.
ones, the metal one and the green ones, soak them right in that contraption?
No, the metal ones, I start in a jar and then I pour them in here.
And the green one too, okay.
Yeah. Okay. You can also see that the roots are coming out down here. And if you're somebody who does not like roots, you could always cut those off with a very sharp knife. And I have done that when the roots get very long, but you don't have to do that because you can eat the roots and all. Okay. So those are the lentil sprouts.
And do they taste like lentil soup?
No, they have a totally different taste and it's very, very mild. Okay, these are my broccoli sprouts. And this is yesterday, I soaked them and this is where they are today.
Wow.
Okay, so you can see some of them are getting their first little leaves.
Wow.
So what part of the broccoli did you start with?
You start with the seeds.
Oh, okay.
See these little, they're actually kind of red. That's the seed. And let me show you, this is a little bit less than a pound of broccoli seeds. So that's what a pound of broccoli seeds looks like.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this will make 75 cups
Goodness.
of broccoli sprouts. Okay. Now,
Debbie, is that more than a week's? Is
oh, yeah.
1 cup good for a week? I mean, is that more than a year's worth of seeds you've got going there?
Well, no, I would say a little bit more. If you do a cup a day, 75 cups, that would be 75 days. So less than 3 months.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to get an idea. So we're talking 2.5 months worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And so that package, Sprout People, is a little bit more expensive. They're all organic, and that was, I think, $36 or $37. And I love Sprout People. I love them. You do pay shipping. So I just, maybe get with friends and anyway. So these are my oat groats, right? So I just started those. Let me show you what and I call it harvesting whenever I'm finished. I call it harvesting. So I have been putting them, and this is not written anywhere, but this is what these are going to be looking like. This is what it's going to make. And you can see you can see the little roots coming out. This one actually, no, that's not none have leaves yet, but this is just over 2 days. I soaked them yesterday morning, and then this afternoon I put them here, but I put them on just to dry them and to make sure they're nice and dry, because I have had the oat groats go bad on me. So I put them in my dehydrator for 30 minutes and it dried them out. They're still just a little bit damp. So I will put these in a glass container with a paper towel just to absorb any moisture. But that's what they look like. And I am eating these every morning just with soy milk on them. I will put my broccoli or my salad greens in there, my blueberries. I also put in a half a teaspoon of my turmeric and ginger mix. So it makes, and also cinnamon. So it makes a very, very good breakfast. They're very chewy, so it slows you down, but it's quite nice. Okay, so these are.
Debbie, before you go on, let me just ask this question for Ken and Dorothy. Do you dry all your sprouts, or did you do that just for the oats and buckwheat?
I dry all of them, and but not in the dehydrator. I will spread them out on paper towels. But these, because I washed them, I soaked them, not soaked them, but I rinsed them this morning, and then I wanted to be able to show y'all the finished product, so I put them in the dehydrator. I could have let them sit out all afternoon, but I did not do that. I just put them in there because the last few times I've done the oat and groats, I have put them in the dehydrator and it works. And the dehydrator is only at 95 degrees. So it's still classified as raw. If you're one person who, or if you are a person who is looking at raw vegetables, you can put them up to 140 degrees and they're still classified as raw. Okay.
Debbie, couldn't you just put them out on the porch for a couple of minutes?
You could, but it gets so hot out there. And
I know.
But you could do it, but I just don't feel comfortable putting them out there. Okay. So let's move on. So what do y'all think these are?
Mung beans.
Mung beans.
Sunflower.
Mung beans.
Black
Sunflower.
beans.
Black
These
beans?
These are sunflower.
Oh,
Sunflower
sunflowers.
seeds.
And
Wow.
these are absolutely delicious. You can just pull them out. You actually the black seeds just pop off. I call them the deadheads, but they are so delicious.
Do they taste like summer?
They taste like the lawn. I love them.
They taste like the lawn. Okay, but these are very,
One in
very
every crowd.
tasty. Very crunchy and just delicious. So this is the first time I've done these, and I wanted to make sure that y'all could see those. These little black seeds just pop right off.
How old are those, Debbie?
I started these on Friday. So these have to soak 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So so 24 hours. I don't know if I soaked them from Thursday to Friday, but it just Friday stands out in my head. But you can, I don't know if you can see down in the bottom, you got some that are still down here, late bloomers. But anyway, really, so this is also one of those metal trays, and you can see the roots down there. If you're somebody who does not want the roots, you can just take a very sharp knife and cut down and shave those off. Or you could use your husband's razor and do the same.
And he won't care. Is there any nutritional value to those roots?
I have
Fiber?
Well, I'm sure there's some nutritional value because it's all part of the sprout. But it's good, it's delicious, and you could floss your teeth.
I like that idea. See, there we go. Sanitary issues.
So mung beans. Okay, I had never done mung beans before, and mung beans are a little bit different, but this is the finished product. Linda, we were supposed to have lunch today. This is what you were supposed to be getting for your lunch, or mung beans.
It looks like coleslaw.
Yeah.
It does.
Yes. But anyway, these are absolutely delicious. You can see that they actually have their first little
Those are the
leaves
first
coming
leaves.
up. Hope, do you remember what the first little leaves are called?
Give me 1 second to flip back one page.
Okay.
Paddling.
What are they
That's
called?
Wheels.
The
Cuttle.
cotyledon. Cotyledon.
That's what it is close to.
Oh,
So it's
cotyledon,
actually,
is that?
it's actually not the first leaf, but it's that
Cotyledon.
initial bloom. Okay, now with mung beans, you're going to soak them. But what you have to do is, I put them in a bowl. I put something, I put a very clean wash rag on top. And then I put a bowl of water on top of those. They want to have the pressure. So this is after they have been soaked for 12 hours. You put them in, what I do is put them in a strainer, a round strainer. Put them in there because you still have to wash them, to wet them down twice a day. And you want to make sure that they have that pressure on them. And the pressure on them makes their stem on the straight side. And if they don't have the pressure on them, it's going to be a curly Q. Okay.
Can you put them in a tofu press?
No, you want to put them in a bigger press.
Okay.
So I'm talking about a colander that I'm putting them in.
Okay.
Putting something on the middle of there.
Deb,
Okay.
you had several questions that I've been holding off on asking.
Okay.
So we'll go through them real quick. If you're on blood thinner, is it still okay to eat sprouts or should you eat just microgreens?
You know what? I'm going to refer to my second slide. I don't know the answer to that.
In other words, ask your health provider.
Ask your health provider. Okay.
Just for your information, that chart that you had where you compared supplements to broccoli sprouts, and it showed the peak hours of the sulforaphane. She said that was really helpful and that she's going to change her way of eating broccoli sprouts because of that.
Excellent. Excellent. And you know what? I will also look up what the ERN is. I had that when I taught the class a couple of weeks ago, and I just have totally forgotten what it is.
Okay. And then Eileen is asking where you got your sprouts from. I mean, your seeds from. You're getting them from Sprouts people. You got some at your lentils at the grocery store, right?
Right. But I also have gotten some from Amazon, and I'm going to show y'all those.
Okay, good.
I'm
Mary,
sorry, we're running a little over.
yeah, and then I think that's it. We had several people that were doing different kinds of sprouts. If y'all haven't looked at the chat, it would be good to do it because they had wonderful ideas. In fact, Zen says she sprouts rye, Debbie.
Why do they cook the sprouts?
No, she sprouts rye.
Rye. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get on to others. These are microgreens. So these are being grown in a medium. And I'm going to lift this up. This is coconut medium. It's just made, it's coconut fiber. You can see that below it are the roots, but we don't pay any attention to that because when these grow up, they are going to be cut off. And so these are arugula.
Oh, wow.
And I will tell you, this is
lettuce.
only a couple of days.
Under
But
lettuce.
these puppies are really good.
I love them.
Really, really good. But remember I said that the sprouts like to be in the dark. So this is another one of these containers. It's just plastic, but you can put this over the top just like that and keep them in the dark until they start. And then once they get like this, you put them under a green light. Okay. So that is my arugula. The
Put
next
them
one,
under what? Some kind of light, you say? Some kind of light? You said once they get to a
grow
certain
light. Yeah, I
grow
have
light.
grow
Oh,
light.
Lord, this is like a lot of work to me.
No, it's not. You don't have to do it like I'm doing all of this. Okay, this is your wheatgrass.
Oh.
Okay. And this is very, very healthy. You can see that you've got a lighter part down here, and then you've got the darker up here. So when you would cut it, you would probably cut it right, down level with this. So, wheatgrass is really great for juicing. And recently, recently as of today, because I didn't know what I was going to do with all this wheatgrass, but today I tried putting this in the blender, and I put some lemon juice, because lemon juice is supposed to help, or a citrus acid is supposed to help with the flavor, calm the flavor, because this is supposed to be very strong. And then I added just a few mangoes, about a half a cup of mangoes frozen, and it was delicious, absolutely delicious. So I was going to give this away to the lady across the street, but I am going to enjoy it myself. So this can get up to be about this tall. Oh, also with this, when you cut it back, and you can see where I cut it today, when you cut it back, it will have a second growth, but it's not going to be quite as nutrient dense as the first growth.
It's initial growth. So how do you eat those, Deb? You said something about juicing them.
Yeah, I don't have a juicer, but that is the typical way of doing wheatgrass. It's called a wheatgrass shot, and I don't know how much it takes to make that shot, but I tried one at the gym one time and thought I would gag. So
It tastes like you were eating the yard.
it was very potent.
Oh, they're
very
terrible. They're so strong. Yeah, I'm a few them.
Okay, so what are these?
Beets.
I'm sure those are beets. I can see the
Beets.
red.
These are
Yeah.
beets, and you can, I don't know if you can see, they rhizomes, I believe, are the seeds, and you can see them right down there. Oh, I see a little net flying around, but anyway, you can see down here, I let it dry out, so part of it died, but those little rhizomes fall off. I was told that you do not want to eat those rhizomes because they never get soft, and they may break a tooth. But anyway, so these are beets, and these probably have been growing 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know that I did them the right way. I've read several things, and they said to put soil over them. So with that said, I'm glad that I got this much, and I will trim them and try to eat them. But anyway.
Did you use seeds, or did you actually sprout beet roots themselves?
Wait, say it again, Michelle.
Did you actually sprout beet root, like from the beet, or are those seeds like the
No,
others?
they're seeds.
Okay.
They are seeds.
Debbie, when you say rhizomes, what are the rhizomes?
You know what? Hold on and let me grab them. Let me see where they are.
That's kind of how they spread when they grow.
Isn't that how some of the grasses grow, through rhizomes? And orchids, they run under the dirt and pop back up? Is that what we're talking about, or am I insane?
No, I think you're right. I think, some things are called seeds and other things are called ribosomes.
Yeah. You know what? I think I threw them away because they weren't sprouting, and it just took so long.
Debbie, did it look like the bulb of a plant? Like if you buy an orchid bulb, or?
No, here, hold on a second. This is one that has not, this is what it looks like.
Is it the seed?
Yeah, that, I think it's called a rhizome.
So it doesn't, they don't call it a seed, they call it a ribosome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the sunflower seeds we wouldn't eat because they would be too hard.
Oh, here they are. Okay, hold on. So let me pour some in my hand.
Now, Debbie, normally somebody like myself, we would start with like try one kind of sprout thing to see if
Yes.
we could do it.
Yeah, Debbie jumps in with both feet.
Yes. So you're doing it like for a commercial kitchen, and we would be doing, you know, one or
Yeah,
two.
you know what? I would say broccoli sprouts are easy. You
Hmm.
know, try them. Casey can't get this open either. But here, can you see what they look like? So that's seeds.
Okay.
But they don't say rhizomes, but somewhere along the line, I saw that it said rhizomes. Okay,
Okay. So what does the bag say, Debs?
it said sprouting seeds.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Well,
and
for
that came
beets.
from
All right.
Sprout
We just
People.
know that beets are rhizomes.
Yeah, and they cannot be done in a jar. They have to be done on a surface. And, you know, after I did this, I read where they prefer to have the dirt.
Hmm.
Okay.
And with it being a rhizome, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and then that when it is breaking through the dirt,
Mhm.
it actually, that rhizome stays down, you know, in the
Yeah.
dirt.
Yeah.
You know, that would be our way of getting B vitamins.
Our B12, if we ate that, yeah.
Our B12.
Okay, so this came from Amazon. This is the arugula.
Uh-huh.
And this says that this is 1 pound, that it will make 45 of these trays.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just saying, these, when you buy a pound, and you can't necessarily get a half a pound on some of these things, but it's going to make a lot.
Deb, what's the shelf life of those, all those?
That was my question.
So, some of them say 2026, some say 2028. So there is a shelf life, but you want to keep them either in the refrigerator or in a cool, dry place.
Or even in the freezer, Debbie. The world seeds, the seeds of the world are in deep storage in some country, way below the freezing point.
Antarctica.
Antarctica. Okay, thank you. Every single seed in the world that has ever come about is in this place. So freezers work really well too.
Okay. And I just cleaned mine, so I have a place to put them. Okay, so this is the microgreen mix. And but this is the salad mix: broccoli, purple kohlrabi, radish, collards, and turnips.
Wow.
Now that sounds like a really, so that's a super.
Did you say broccoli in that, Debbie?
Yep, broccoli was first.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
Okay.
You got that from Amazon?
I got that from Amazon. Okay, this is red kale.
Oh, wow.
And they're just as black, but when these get wet, they'll turn red. Okay, and then these are my sunflower seeds. And let's see, mung beans. Let's see, you can get a close up of these mung beans are very small. And so you can see that if you use a small amount, and it makes that great big container full, that they go far. This has an expiration date of 2/28. So
awesome.
Anyway, folks, that is it. I'm sorry I couldn't do more.
Wow. That was a lot.
Debbie, just
I'm overwhelmed.
Crazy.
The most amazing
lot.
look at so many different things, but I had a couple questions that came up in the chat, and also my question to you is where you get your coconut sheets and your tray.
I got the coconut and
It's called.
so I got a lot of these supplies on Amazon because when I was doing the 2 classes a couple of weeks ago, I needed stuff right away, and so I ordered stuff that could be delivered within a day or 2. So I got a lot of stuff on Amazon, and I've been pleased with it.
Okay, and we had one of our late arrivals ask about the recording. You're going to send out a link to the recording.
Yes, now so V Lynn and her marketing group are actually doing the editing of this. So it does take a couple of a couple of weeks to get the finished product. Like I'm just reviewing the video from last month and they do a tremendous job. So anyway, why I'm saying that is that maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I can get it out.
Okay.
But I will be sending out a follow-up before that.
Okay, good. And then
The trays also came from Amazon?
All the trays came from Amazon, yes. Oh, let me just show you something. So this is the screen. So if you have, you can buy these from
Or a mason
Amazon,
jar.
and this is just the screen. And if you have the ball jars or
Any
this
Mason
jars,
jar.
they're all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same.
all of the mason jars.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's all
Yeah.
you need to get started. And if you have let me do this. If you have a kitchen sink, you know, a drain board that has where you can tilt this, that's all you need. So, you know, that's as simple, getting the seeds, having the mason jar, and having one of these, and it's a piece of cake. And that's
Okay.
how I started several years ago.
Debbie,
Can you review something I didn't catch when you're talking about some of the sprouts like pressure? And I didn't catch what you were doing on that one with the pressure. Which seeds and how did you create
Yeah,
pressure?
so that's the mung seeds,
The mung
And
bean seeds.
the mung beans. Yes, thank you.
And
the
how did you
mung
put the
beans,
pressure on?
I put a container of water on the inside of it to hold it down, to weight it down. And you have to do that. And it was like 3 or 4 days before these were done. They were very fast and very simple and very
Container of water. You mean like a jar of water all
yeah,
over the
you
tray?
want to put a weight on it.
Right.
Mhm.
So if you
Okay.
have a colander or a strainer that you're putting the seeds in, then you would put
Mhm.
water in a bowl that's smaller than that and fit it
And
on
just
top.
put it on the inside. Exactly. So,
Oh.
and I will send y'all some YouTube clips that will show you how to do that.
Okay, good.
Awesome.
Okay, because it really is easy. The first time I did it, I did not use that. I just let it grow and they were curly and they were still very, very good. So don't worry.
Debbie,
Yeah,
if you're
curly or
able
straight.
to put like links to Amazon, if we click on the links, that we can get a little commission. So we know exactly what to buy.
Yeah,
know?
I need to do that. I need to somehow do that. But anyway, I don't have that set up. But anyway,
Okay.
I will do that for y'all.
Yet.
Okay.
Not set up yet.
Not set up yet. I have to figure that out. Maybe V-Lyn can help.
Yes.
Hint, hint.
Mhm. I got you.
So anyway,
If
so
anybody loves you, she'll send you the info on how to do that or do it for you.
Yeah.
Deb,
Debbie,
think
I
there's
have one last question that's kind of important.
okay.
Someone wrote to me a direct message, and I've heard this before, and I bet others have too, that you have to be careful about sprouts because they are growing and they grow in a moist environment and they can, you know, they can grow bacteria just like everything can. Tell us some of the things that you are doing to make sure that they're safe and, you know, you don't need to worry about anything coming that shouldn't be there.
Yes, and thank you for saying that, Kathy. And I will tell you that I have a friend who she actually grows microgreens commercially. And she talked about the sprouts being having an issue, like you're saying, you know, with the bacteria, the E. coli, and so forth. So making sure that you use fresh water whenever you are rinsing them. Sophie or Tashish, hold on 1 second. I'm so sorry. I had a child that had to get down. Anyway, okay, so making sure you're using fresh water, making sure that you are rinsing these every 8 to 12 hours is very important. I do them twice a day, but also that was why I mentioned about cutting off the roots, because the roots is where it would really possibly have bacteria building up. So I've been using these metal ones, and I will cut the roots off. So I just have the sprout and the beginning of the leaves. And they have been very, very good.
And I've
You
also,
spread it on the counter or in the fridge?
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, that's
Michelle,
right.
Do you sprout on the counter or at room temperature or in the fridge?
No, you're doing it at room temperature.
Everything, okay.
Yeah, and keeping them in a cool spot. You don't want it too hot. And then also, because Hope, when you said putting them outside, it's an environment that could get dust. It's an environment that could get the pollen that's blowing in, but putting them in a dehydrator, because I have a dehydrator, you could probably put them in the oven and put them on low just to dry them. The moisture is where they're going to get the possibilities of molding and so forth. That's also why I like to have the paper towel at the bottom, just to absorb the moisture. And if I feel that the paper towel is too wet, I will change that out. I will put it in a new container, new paper towel, and have it readily, preserved that way. Okay.
great, thanks, Deb.
This
Any
was
more
awesome.
questions? I tried so hard to make it 7 o'clock, but it's not.
So
You
much-
almost did it.
Fine.
That was a lot of information and a lot of good stuff.
Information.
Okay.
That
Well,
was awesome,
listen,
Debbie. Thanks.
Thank you.
yes. So also, if there are other specialty classes that y'all would like to see, please put that in the chat box, because I would love to do more specialty classes. We're going to have a class every month. And of course, if it's not a specialty class like this, it's going to be a Food for Life class. And they're always very positive, of course, but certainly I want to gear these towards my audience. Okay. And y'all are my audience, and I love you.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thanks everybody for being on.